Hello friends. Today in this course on advertising and public relations, we shall discuss some basic concepts of advertising and related disciplines. When we come at understanding what is advertising, what is public relations, what is publicity, what is propaganda, don't we sometimes get confused thinking, oh, it seems they are all same but still a little different. There is a little difference but little similarity. So this little becomes more and then we somehow as students of this marketing, communication, integrated marketing, whatever you might choose to call it, we somehow get a little bewildered and it becomes something which is simple yet seems complex. Don't worry friends, today we are here to resolve all such confusions or queries or bewilderments that you might have had. Let us begin with basic advertising. You've been studying this. So, as a repeated definition, I'll say it is any paid form of non-personal penetration and promotion of ideas, goods or services by an identified sponsor, right? Now, if you break this definition, what do you see? It is non-personal. So when something is personal to you, when somebody is telling you that, okay ma'am or sir, buy this, oh this is a coupon, please fill this, then we will not call it advertising. It will go into personal selling, which we will discuss later in this class today. So advertising is by its nature non-personal. It is there in a public domain and you are viewing or listening to it like anybody else around you. Second thing is that it is by an identified sponsor. So if there is an ad, unlike PR where you can't identify who is saying this to me, you can identify who has paid for this message to come to me, right? So when there is a non-personal form of communication and by an identified sponsor, but it is aimed at persuading you into buying into a product or service, it is advertising. Now the concept of advertising is actually part of a larger gamut, which is marketing. Marketing is a broad business function, which includes product research and development, merchandising and distribution process, pricing, and then the communication and promotion of that thing. Now this communication and promotion, the fourth function of marketing that we are talking about, involves advertising, PR and other forms which as students of mass communication, we have to be involved with or we have to study or understand. So if I again talk about these functions of marketing with examples, a product research and development is function of marketing. For instance, if you want to make a sanitizer, you thought, oh, COVID-19 had come and there were costly sanitizers and there was scarcity of sanitizers, I would like to make sanitizers. Then you think, oh, well, maybe I can make something better. Maybe I can make sanitized sheets and pillow covers for people to be using in railways or while they are traveling, because you suddenly learn that there is a news item that railway has stopped giving the bedding in its coaches now because of the risk of COVID infections. Now if you think this is an idea that you have, but now you would want to research on this idea, that what is the cost, where can I manufacture them, are there any permissions by the government that I need? So all this involves marketing. That product research and the process of development, if you actually set up a manufacturing unit or you tie up with someone who would give it to you and you would market it. The second thing is merchandising and distribution process. Now if you have manufactured the product, okay, these sanitized, disposable pillow covers and bed sheets you have manufactured. Now the second process is to be reaching to the people who will use them. Why have you made these products? So that some people can use them. Now merchandising and distribution. How do I buy this? You can either choose to put it online on maybe Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeals or any such sites, or you can choose to put it in shops or in malls, or you can choose to make home deliveries. Howsoever you decide to distribute your merchandise is another function of marketing where you need to know what you are doing. Then comes the pricing. At what price should I place my product? Many researchers would be involved in this. A lot of brainstorming. Are there any competitors? Where are they pricing their products? What is the range? Who are the people I'm targeting? What is their buying capacity? And many other things. Now, after you've decided upon all this, your product is ready, the price has been decided, you know how to send it or distribute it to the people. Now comes the process of promoting it. There is where advertising would come into being. How would I know that you have this product? As a target consumer, as a buyer, as an audience, you have to let me know that these are the products available in the market and you can buy into them and you can use them. And how would you tell me that? You would tell me that through advertisements, through public relations and other things. Now to tell me this, you would use many methods. Now these methods are known as communication mix. These are specific methods used to promote the company or its products to the target audience. Now this communication mix has a certain purpose. When you are deciding upon what communication methods I would use, you have to see that what is the purpose. Is this a new product where you need to create awareness among the people? Maybe it can be a social message like pulse polio, or maybe an immunization drive, or maybe a sanitization drive, or something to, okay, you must send your daughters to study, something against female foeticide, anything where you need to create awareness. So is your purpose to create awareness to the people about your idea or your product? Or is the purpose to persuade the customer to use the product or the service? Okay, this is the product now. This is a hair color that I have come out with. Now in India, where people usually have black or brown hair, why would they color their hair into burgundy or blonde? You have to market it again. Now the purpose here would be persuading the customers to buy into this product. Another purpose can be to outgrow the competition. Maybe you have a soap bar, a detergent bar, and there are already many detergent bars. You come up with XYZ bar, maybe let's call it the clean bar. Now this is a new entrant in the market, but there is Tide, there is Surf, there is Rin, there is Ariel. There are many soap detergent bars in the market. You want to outgrow the competition. Now if this is your purpose, your marketing efforts would be very different from if your purpose was to create awareness. Another purpose can be just to reach the target audience, just win their hearts. For instance, Tata is a company, we all know about it. But even if we know about it, Amul or Tata or maybe Reliance, they would still come up with ads where they just need to reach you, touch your minds, be at top of your mind, keep their trust, which is in your mind, alive. So your purpose of marketing has to be decided. Maybe it is creating awareness, persuading the customers to buy, outgrow the competition, or just to reach the TA. Accordingly, you will be able to decide what communication mix will you use for marketing. Now, what are the elements of communication mix? So out of these, you would decide a prudent mix of which element is to be used, how much. So the elements of promotional or marketing mix are advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, public relations, direct marketing or event sponsorships, point of purchase marketing, and even packaging. We will deal with each of them one by one. So you have a diagram on your screens where the marketing mix and its different elements are shown. So these diagrams usually help in remembering things, they work as small cues for memory. Let us deal with the first one, which is advertising. We began by defining advertising. Now, advertising includes all messages a business pays to deliver through a medium to reach the target audience. Now, since it involves majority of paid messages, we can say that it is a paid communication, it is non-personal, and it has an extensive use in the marketing mix. After advertising, we come to personal selling. Now, people or students usually get confused between what is the difference between personal selling and advertising. Unlike advertising, personal selling involves a one-to-one relationship with the consumer. It is the oral or written presentation of tangible or intangible products by a seller to a prospective customer. So when I come to you and I explain you the benefits of my product, telemarketers call sometimes and say, oh ma'am, I need an appointment with you. We want to come to you and explain to you our new RO service. Or we want to explain to you how our holiday company is a good company. So sometimes you call them or you go to a presentation where they are presenting. So these are personal selling techniques. Personal selling involves distribution channel suppliers. You talk to your channel supplier. Have you gone to some hotels and seen that there are meetings happening with the MRs, those are medical representatives. So these distribution channel suppliers are usually reached through personal selling, and they in turn reach the end audience again through personal selling. Salespeople who have to promote your products do this. Retail salespeople promote the value of goods and services to the consumers in retail businesses through personal selling. Now, briefly, you understand the difference between advertising and personal selling. Advertising is non-personal, personal selling is personal. We come to another important element of marketing mix, which is sales promotion. It is a direct incumbent which offers an extra value and incentive for the product to the sales force, distributors or ultimate consumers. It involves a variety of tools, for example, coupons, free products, demonstrations. It is not rare to, going to a mall and seeing that there is a small canopy set up where they are giving you free trials of maybe a juice or maybe a pickle, where they say, oh, try this. A free distribution campaign is being run by the company. This is sales promotion. Or maybe a shampoo company is running some hairdo campaigns, or a makeup company says, oh, we are doing makeovers here. You come and our expert will do a makeover to you free of charge. Or you buy a product and in that you get coupon for another product. So on Zomato, you order some food and a coupon comes that you order through Milk Basket your milk and you will get this much of off. So these are cross promotional activities. So these sales promotions are another part of marketing mix. Discounts and promotions are used for sales promotions, coupons, percent offs, deals, rebates. So these are all examples. Another example is the coupon mailers. You get a mail saying, okay, this is a mail from HDFC Bank credit card. You have won a Flipkart voucher of rupees 500. So these coupon mailers are again a part of sales promotion. Then exterior signs and in-store signage to call customers' attention for discounts, where they say, they write in big fonts 90% off, and then in small asterisks they would say, okay, 50 plus 40, so that is 90. So when you make these exterior signs to attract customers to your stores, that is another way of sales promotion. So as short-term gains from the sales are targeted through these promotional activities. Then we come to another thing, which is direct marketing. Now, direct marketing to the customers involves some aspects of both sales promotion and personal selling. Interactive communication with customers where the company's messages seeks or implores a response for the target consumer is part of direct marketing. These can be through emails, direct mails. These are usually the common formats. The message is sent with special offers or calls in action, often promoting limited time deals or new product launches, or mail orders, online or offline surveys, infomercials, or clubs where you are part of the Shoppers Stop Club where you would get this discount. All these are part of direct marketing. Another element of marketing mix is event sponsorships, or maybe having your presence felt at certain events. So this occurs when a company pays to have a presence at a sports or entertainment or non-profit or community event. The sponsorship may include a mix of benefits. Representation of the company during the event or visibility of the product or brand is the essential part of it. Handout samples can be given, some gifts or literatures. The name mentions during the event or spots are connected to the event. So all this happens when you go to a trade fair. Some mailers are given to you, or you're given small gifts. If you write in their diary, they might probably inform you that, we had a lucky coupon draw. So you won this in a trade fair. So during the trade fair or college fests or maybe a community service event, these event sponsorships happen. Apart from this, one very interesting thing is point of purchase selling. Sometimes all your advertising, promotions, direct mailers would want you to purchase a product. When you go to the shop, you see danglers hanging of another brand of the same product and you end up buying that brand. So a lot of change happens at the point of purchase selling. These days in stores, there are these stores where you have shelves and you're drawing your trolley through them. So you look at the shelves and the shelf that catches your eye level attention. Usually you pick up the product and put it in your purchasing trolley. So these things, the in-shop targeting of the consumers is known as point of purchase selling. Danglers, placements of goods as we discussed. Then all this influences buying decision on the point. A lot of research goes into this, that at what point you have to place what in the shop. Now what is the need and usage of all these elements of marketing mix? They are used both online and offline. These are competitive markets and specific targeting is needed. So whom you are targeting? On online, specific targeting is much easier. You would have noticed that if probably you have booked a train ticket for say Jodhpur. So in your next Facebook, when you open on your page, you would see ads for Jodhpur hotels. You would see ads for guides from Jodhpur. So your data is being taken and you've been specifically targeted. So these marketing mix elements, now these ads, what would you call them? Are they advertisements or are they personal selling? They are a mix of both. So in these modern times, friends, what is happening? Those lines are blurring. Advertisement, personal selling, public relations, all of them is blurring together. So this is the usage of these marketing mix. Now some of the other terms that we very commonly use and other things that we use as students of mass communication. First one is public relations. It is similar to advertising. The major difference is that you do not pay for the time or space of your message. So if you have to give a message in a newspaper as an ad, you pay. If you give it as an editorial content or an interview, you do not pay for it, but it's a huge PR activity. A television or newspaper feature story that mentions a business, for instance, is not paid for and it can still provide brand exposure. However, downside of PR remains that you do not always control the messages that go because you have not paid for them. So somebody might write something that you would not have wanted. So that is one small downside that is there. Another similar term is publicity. So usually students get confused between publicity and PR. Any form of non-paid commercially significant news or editorial content about ideas, products and institutions is known as publicity. It is similar to PR because it is non-paid. But here you are trying vehemently to do this. So there can be film publicity events. There are also PR events in turn. Then we come to propaganda. This is a term that rose to fame with Hitler because a lot of propaganda was done again by the Germans against the Nazis, and also this propaganda is the information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. So it is usually taken in the negative connotation. Propaganda is communication that is used primarily to influence an audience and further an agenda which may not be objective and may be presenting facts selectively to encourage a particular synthesis or perception. It also might be using loaded language to produce an emotional rather than a rational response to that information. Now do you understand that all this are part of marketing mix? Now with all this in mind, we have to create campaigns. So because we are discussing important concepts in advertising and PR, let me run you through a definition of an ad campaign. It is an ongoing series of related advertisements where various media are used. Same idea runs through all the media, small chunks of those ads, and that is called a campaign. Now campaign planning is a very specific and strategic process. You will learn in other videos of this course about campaign planning. Just to give you a brief introduction to it, campaign planning has strategic considerations. You have to decide upon your marketing objectives, who your competitors are, the consumer psychology, their psychographics and demographics, positioning of your message, the design of the message and the media placement of the message all have to be kept in mind, and then you plan your campaign. And campaign planning, apart from these strategic considerations, also involves creative considerations. The way the message is presented, message development, meaning and tools, size and shape of your message presentation, the colors that you would use, what kind of illustration, headlines, the body copy, the slogan, the jingle, the music, all these are creative considerations while planning the campaign. And for execution of the campaign, again, certain marketing principles come handy. The unique selling proposition, how is your brand unique? What is the brand image? The comparison with different brands, relevance, reality, emotional content, and do you want to have a celebrity to represent your brand? I'm briefly running you through these concepts, and we shall discuss in other videos week by week these concepts in detail. Now, what are the functions of advertising? Do you understand advertising and its different brother sisters, if I would call, the different things of marketing which are close to advertising, and also the campaign considerations? Why do we need advertising? Functions of advertising are manifold. Either you might want to introduce a new product into the market, or enhance the goodwill of your already existing product, improve the dealer relations, or raise the standard of living of people. You might want to tell them from simple water purifiers, shift to ROs and raise the standard of living. You might want to just provide information. So there can be social campaigns where you can provide information maybe against diabetes or against these lifestyle diseases that are there. So it can be, the purpose can be just to provide information. The function of advertising is also to have consumer make educated choices. When consumers sees competitors, they make an educated choice, okay, as per the price, the features, the utility of the product. So this is another function of advertising. It also helps the manufacturers reach out to the consumers and also helps fund various events. You know, also because of advertising, we read a newspaper for free. We watch all our OTT content for free. For television, you pay for your TV, but you're not paying the salaries of your newsreaders or television actors. So advertising also has a function of giving you so much of entertainment and information which you don't have to pay for directly. It also raises the quality of the products because people have to advertise, they have to research, they have to deal with the competitors. Also, the mass production and mass distribution was made possible because of advertising. The IDA principle of attention, interest, desire, and finally the action of buying into the product is all dealt with by advertising. But advertising is also criticized. I mean, the functions, as I just told you, might want you to believe, wow, this is the great thing. What would be the society doing without advertising? But with all the good things that ads do, they are also being criticized. It is usually said that they are too much and too often. There are many ads that come. I opened a newspaper and out of 20 pages, 14 were filled with ads. I was trying to watch a serial on television. Out of 30 minutes, 14 minutes were for advertisements. So they are usually criticized for being too much and too often. They also sometimes have adverse effects on the value system. When you promote products and you create a need into the mind of people to buy into the products where they might not have those kinds of income, they might be encouraged to do some unethical or illegal things to buy into those products. This also promotes stereotypes. This is one major criticism on ads, which usually the women are shown relegated to the household work and men are shown going to the office. So these kind of stereotypes are promoted. So the stereotype of the fair skin being the good people, if you are not fair skinned, you might not get a job or you might not get married. All these kind of false stereotype images are also promoted by advertisements. Sometimes they ignore all norms of decency and morality. The use of gender or sex in advertisement has gone through a lot of criticism. We will discuss that in further lectures also. Frustration due to non-gratification of aroused desires by ads. It also encourages antisocial activities. Sometimes it might just glorify eve teasing or it might glorify some things on events. So people might be encouraged to do that. And the big criticism on advertisement is that they are exaggerated, they deceive people. You can't be chewing gums and having teeth flashing as camera lights. You can't be wearing a deodorant having girls wooing around you all. These are exaggerations and these are deceptive messages. It's a big deceptive message to use wrinkle-free creams and become young. You will of course age with age. So advertisement has all these criticisms also. Now the questions in your mind would be that if they are doing such wrong things, are there any controls? Of course, steady growth in consumer groups and business organizations and government bodies has now come to regulate virtually everything that the advertisements say. Most advertisers strive to maintain the ethical standards. And we can say that once a free-swinging, unchecked business, advertising is today a closely scrutinized and heavily regulated profession. There are many codes and ethics on advertisements. We have different videos to discuss those laws and codes and ethics on advertisements. So the purpose of today's discussion was to give you an overview of advertisement. Now that you would be doing this course and it would just go, all the weeks would take different previews. A basic introduction on what ads are, what PR is, how are they part of a larger marketing mix, what are their functions, what are their criticisms, are they regulated by certain bodies, why do you think they are important, why do they have to be there? So trying to just understand this. I hope this class has given that overview of basic concepts of advertising and PR to you. Happy learning, friends.